Welcome to Super Talk Outdoors, where every single Monday at lunchtime we celebrate the world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi, because this is the capital of the outdoors in America. I hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate the outdoors in Mississippi. It's June. You know what's interesting? I'm about to say June 16th, and it hits me that we are almost halfway through this year, and I am blown away with how fast time is flying. Of course, we're all focused on beginning to kind of down here on the coast, of course, fishing offshore and all the backwater fishing the coast of Mississippi. We're thinking about, beginning to plan food plots and all of that at our hunting camps to get ready for deer season. It's just a pretty cool time of the year. It's been super hot in coastal Mississippi. Lots of rain, a lot of afternoon thunderstorms, just kind of the pattern that we're in right now. We got up Saturday morning, my son Jordan and I and his two kids, Liam and Mila, and we decided that we would not see any major thunderstorms until the afternoon, which that's what turned out to happen. So we went to Horn Island and did a little bit of shark fishing with the two kids and had a really good time. We kept a couple, an Atlantic sharpnose and a black tip. And we came back and we cooked them. Shark, I tell you what, if you prepare it right, shark's as good as anything you can eat. But the kids had a great time, and we had a great time. And we got back just as the thunderstorm started. So we got lucky on that regard. Anyway, the fishing reports here in coastal Mississippi continue to be absolutely incredible. I'm excited today because I read news recently where Saltillo High School archery team in Saltillo, Mississippi, won the national championship, the NASP Bullseye National Championship, competing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And it was the first archery team in Mississippi to actually win the national championship. And Coach John Vines is the coach at Saltillo High School. And I wanted him to join me today, along with Jason Johnson, who is the associate coordinator an event coordinator for the Ames program here in Mississippi. And anyway, without any further ado, let me welcome John and Jason to Super Talk Outdoors. How you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
That's good to see you.
Thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, Coach Vines, right off the bat, let me just congratulate you guys. It's got to be a thrill to have done well in this. So it's been a wonderful ride for you guys. We're going to come back to you here in just a second, Coach Vines. But before we do that, Jason, why don't you kind of set this up? I've had numerous programs over the last few years about the Ames program in Mississippi, but it is incredible what this program has done to inject archery sports across the state of Mississippi, isn't it?
It has been amazing to see its journey. 20 years ago, I got involved with the program. It is inception in 2005. Waldo Cleveland, and there's a lot of people responsible for where we are at this point forward, going back to Dr. Polis and now Lynn Posey, Craig Beating, who's taken the program over, and the vision everyone has had in the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries to see our kids in Mississippi have a chance to compete at this high level. And, speaking of Saltillo, we look at humble beginnings when our first state championship was about 10 schools participating. And now we have over 6,000 children participate in our state championship shoot every year. And of course, Saltillo, seeing what they did, it's like a proud parent, who's finally, achieved. This is what we've been wanting for 20 years, and it's finally happened.
I mean, Jason, still sticking with you for a second, what this has done to teach kids responsibility. Not all kids who get into archery ultimately get involved in the outdoors, but a great number of them do. It's just been a great program on a number of levels, hasn't it?
It has, and we've taken the program and tried to take it from the Bullseye and gear it to the outdoor scene. We've started something called extreme archery, which uses a bow that has sights, and Saltillo is very good in that, by the way. And we have introduced shooting deer and turkey targets. And last year, for the first time, we started a 3D outdoor series. It's in the fall of the year. We do a north and a south shoot, and then a state shoot in Jackson out at Turcotte on the reservoir. And it was really successful last year. The kids respond. As long as they respond like this, we're going to keep adding programs for them to be involved in, because we feel like a kid that gets involved in outdoors is going to be a productive citizen and have a quality contribution to society.
Listen, Waldo, God rest his soul, was on my program not long before his untimely death. But, boy, he left a beautiful legacy, didn't he?
Boy, sure did. And I'll tell you that one of the great things he did is he set it up. Waldo knew his health wasn't real good, and he set it up with all of us, his workers, myself, and with Craig Beating, and there's 3 or 4 other guys that are an intricate part of Ames, to where we could just continue to roll and keep going.
Yeah,
but his legacy sure is present.
I will never forget his passion for this and how excited he was to continue to watch this thing grow. John, coming to you, this is Coach John Vines from Saltillo. They just won the national championship. John, when you think about what you're doing, you didn't get to a national championship overnight, did you?
We did not. And as a matter of fact, when I started with Saltillo, it was a situation in which the team had already been incredibly successful, and they were on their 7th or 8th consecutive undefeated season, and they'd already won state championships. And I took the program, and honestly, I knew nothing about the sport. I honestly never really even shot a bow. And it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's just one of those things that never was a part of my day-to-day activities. And so I learned a lot over that first year. And then after that year was over with, I found out that there was a national aspect to it. And it was bigger than just what we saw in the state of Mississippi. And I started to ask the question, we're one of the best teams in the state, and why are we not competing nationally? And so that was the progression there. And it wasn't an easy thing. It took a few years to get the kids used to it, because most of the time they start shooting in January. They start really practicing in January, and then after the state championship, they're done. Well, we can't do that if we're going to shoot and compete well at nationals. We got to keep going until June, and we got to keep our scores up. And so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, a lot of time on range, and the kids they've responded well. We've seen a progression. The first year we didn't finish super great, but then we the team made me proud. They did a good job. The second year that we competed nationally, we finished 3rd, and then the 3rd year that we shot, we finished 2nd. That was last year, and we lost by 8 points last year, which when you're talking about a score of you're in the 3,400s, which I'm not sure how familiar you are with the scoring system, but if you lose by 8 points and you're shooting over 3,400, you're doing something. And we lost by 8 points, 2nd place. And this year my team responded really well. We did a fantastic job.
So, hey, when we come back on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about your team, Coach Vine.
Sure.
So we'll hold that for the other side. But in the short time we have left in this segment, coming back to Jason Johnson, who's involved in the Ames program, what makes a great team from your observation, Jason?
Well, just like any other sport, I was a football coach for 30 years myself, and the carryovers as a coach in any sport: number one, discipline; number two, a buy-in from your children for your vision and what you want out of your program. Are you satisfied with merely competing, or do you strive for a championship? And then number three, getting everyone at your school, your administration, everyone with that same vision. And Coach Vines is that. There's no doubt his kids were special.
And there's no doubt that
what he's done with the program has been really special.
Yeah. And Jason, there's no doubt that practice makes perfect, doesn't it?
The more you shoot, and I'm a bow hunter myself, and I have been for years, the more you shoot, the better you are.
Yeah, I've watched my son Jordan. Well, I mean, we're all into bow hunting, but my son Jordan is big time into bow hunting. And here at my house on Back Bay, we've got a 3D target system set up, and I'm amazed at what he does from 50 yards. It's crazy. He's got a Matthews bow, and the more he does it, the better he gets. And it's an amazing sport. That is for sure. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit more from Coach Vines about what it takes to make a national championship. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to SuperTalk Outdoors. Listen, are you looking to purchase your perfect piece of hunting property, upgrade your farm equipment, or have you been dreaming of owning your slice of heaven out in the country? Look no further than Mississippi Land Bank for your financing needs. For more than 100 years, farming families and landowners in North Mississippi have turned to Mississippi Land Bank for all kinds of financial solutions, whether it's for land, equipment, or livestock. For more information, visit mslandbank.com or go by and see one of their friendly staff at any of their offices. We're just thrilled to have Mississippi Land Bank as a sponsor of SuperTalk Outdoors. Hey, listen, I love doing a show like we're doing today because we're celebrating not just the first archery national championship by Coach Vines and his team at Saltillo High School up in Northeast Mississippi, but we're also joined by Jason Johnson, who's an associate coordinator and events coordinator for the Ames program in Mississippi. But we're also just celebrating, I think introducing kids to a sport that will eventually get them into the outdoors. And I believe kids that spend time in the outdoors, we're saving them. I really believe that more than anything ever. And when you learn something like archery, you're learning dramatic responsibility. And Coach Vines, when you think about what you're teaching the kids, just aside, we'll get into what it takes to win a national championship here in a second, but what you're teaching the kids about life is something that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I guess the biggest life lesson there, and archery is different than any other sport that you'll find on campus. When you look at baseball and basketball and football and even your running sports, there's a certain level of an explosion that you're looking for in those athletes. And with this sport, it's all about slowing down and being patient and trusting the process. And that's one of the biggest things that I preach day in and day out, is making sure that your process is the most important thing at the beginning. You have to anchor. You have to go through making sure that your hands are set, making sure that you slow down. If you're going to shoot fast, you're not going to do well. So it's absolutely different than every other activity, and it's vital in life even to do that, to make sure that you're slowing down, trusting the process. Don't rush through everything. There are times in life where you have to get in a hurry, but at the same time with this, you're looking at it's the valuable lesson here is making sure that you're able to slow down and take your time through the process.
You also don't have to be the biggest and the strongest, do you?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's not to say that I don't have some of those kids on the team, but some of my best archers are 5 feet tall and weigh 100 pounds, maybe. And they're phenomenal. And that's why when we talk about that process, that's why slowing down and trusting the process is so important. And they're pulling back the same weight bow that the bigger kids are. And I've got some bigger kids, and they're as strong as a moose, but they're not as patient as some of these smaller kids. And because of that, you see they're not going to hit quite as well.
Yes, that's such an interesting thing. And we're going to come back to Coach Vines here in just a second and talk about what it takes to have a winning team. But Jason, on this note about life lessons, when someone says to you archery in schools and they don't get it, how do you answer them?
I think we lost Jason.
Okay, we'll come back to him in just a second, but I'll direct that question to Coach Vines. When people say archery in schools, make that make sense to me.
Well, it's one of those things where you have different level of kids in schools, right? You've got those people who are going to lean more toward the baseball or the basketball or the football, or it could be soccer, whatever the deal is. But I've got kids on my team that come from all of those different sports, and then I've got some that don't do any of those things. I've got band kids. When you talk about this sport, there are things to keep in mind. Again, it's a great life lesson. This year alone, for my team, I've had over $30,000 in scholarships, and that's spread out from my senior level all the way down to some of my freshmen ended up winning scholarships because of our placement at NASP national events. And so there's opportunity there. There are a couple of college programs here in the state that are phenomenal programs, and there's opportunity for them to get some money toward their school. And so when you talk about why archery, for me, it's more like, why not? It's a great opportunity. It's the biggest thing that I've seen since I've been the coach of this team is that it's a great community. It's a great opportunity for kids who don't necessarily have maybe even the best social situation. It's an opportunity for them to learn. It's an opportunity for them to learn how to interact with with their peers. And it's a great opportunity. So the question isn't why archery, it's why not. It's why not.
Yeah, I hear that so clearly. We've got Jason Johnson back. So Jason, welcome back. But I had asked the question, and he did a terrific job. Coach Vines did a terrific job of answering the question about why archery. But when someone asks you, archery in schools, make that make sense. What do you say to them?
Well, when we started the program, the big debate was, is this safe sport? And we've quelled all of those questions. When you can shoot, almost 200 children at one time on a line, fire arrows. Our track, we've never had an injury. We've never had an accident of any kind. The whistle command system, for safety is amazing, and how it works and how the kids respond to it. And it's, amazing that how you can get kids to be on the same page all at one time. But going back to answer your question, why we know kids that are actively involved in extracurricular activities at school. They actually perform better in the classroom. They perform better in their discipline and their overall function at school. So I'm like Coach Vines, why not? And his kids are a great reflection of that. When they take the Florida archery tournament, they're focused, they're disciplined. He had a lot of kids shooting. He had an A and a B team when we shot in Starkville at the North Half, and they came down and we shot both his teams at one time. I was the floor director. Of course, the way we line them up, we have an A and a B line, and there was so many to line up. I pulled them all in, and I told them what I wanted to do. And I told I said, I hope this works, because I just told all these teenagers what I wanted to do. And
so, Jason, we're trying kind of losing you a little bit with Wi-Fi, but we got you. We understood what you said. But Coach Vines, coming to you, we got just a short time left.
Sure.
From a coach's perspective, for you, what made this team a winning team, a national championship team?
Great question. I think the biggest thing that separated this team from those that I've had in the past and those that have shot well is I had a phenomenal leadership on my team. This year, I delegated roles to certain seniors, and I gave one. He was going to be my bow mechanic, and he did a good job. And if anybody had any issues, go talk to Nate. He's the guy. He can help fix whatever your situation is. All of my captains, my seniors, they were instrumental in helping coach, because I've got 70 people on my team, but I don't have an assistant. It's just me working with these kids, and I can't do it all by myself. And so what I've done is, I've delegated different responsibilities for them. And so when we look at what builds this team or what separated this team, it's the leadership that's there, and they're really good at responding to their peers. And I think that's really the biggest thing that's kind of helped separate us this year from where we've been in the past.
What a beautiful thing to say. When you've got great leadership, what you inject in your team is hope, a real hope that you can achieve great success, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a matter of, I issue a challenge. If you want to shoot, then you've got to spend the time on the range, get the practice in, get your score up. And I'll take you to Louisville, and I'll take you to Myrtle Beach or Daytona or wherever the Nationals is. But you have to put in the effort and time to get there.
So Coach John Vines and Jason Johnson, Coach John Vines from Saltillo High School, just recently won the national championship, and Jason, who is a assistant coordinator for Ames program in Mississippi. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you very much
for having us.
We'll see you after this break.